Hmm.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Dream Stream, your dream work podcast. I am Yiskah Cook.
And I am Ellen Ronas.
And Ellen, I think you said you wanted to start. You had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, I have so much that I want to say, but okay. I think I first want to say that a very prominent cast member in my dreams, my ex-husband, passed away last week, and definitely grieving and having a lot of feeling about it, very multi-layered, as one could imagine. We didn't end very well, and it was very painful. It took many years to get over. Um, but his passing has led me to a whole different experience of him in, let's call it the dream world, but it's not really it's not like I'm dreaming. It's like I'm
Yeah,
talking with him. I'm communicating with him. I feel his
a
presence.
living dream.
Yeah, it's just been it's been really it's been really potent, intense, sad, you know, all sorts of multitude of feelings. But I feel so grateful to be able to have those moments of connection with him in that, in that form, um, in the form that he's in now, whatever that is. But I just feel his presence and I feel the spark of his love.
I
Even,
love that.
yeah, even though I didn't feel that towards the end of our relationship. But I don't need to go too much into the details of it. I just wanted to share that. And the other thing is I
I
just
must say,
mm,
so sorry. I just wanted to say, not only is he a prominent cast member of your dream states, he's also a dream worker. And so I think you met him at a dream workshop at Robert Moss. I think I met him. I don't know if it was at a Robert Moss, but I don't know. Might have been just because we lived in the same area
oh, we all met there. We all
at
met.
Robert Moss.
Yes, I even have
So
pictures of us
yes,
there.
so he's a
Mhm.
dreamer and dream worker, a
Yes,
very wise man,
yes.
filled of love.
Hmm.
And I'd love to think he's shining down on us.
Yeah, yeah.
For
And there's,
you and me,
I heard, yeah, for all of us, he was
for
a
all of
very,
us.
he was an extremely bright light. He really was,
Yeah, he
for
was.
all the ouchies that happened and the things that, he didn't do so great at the end. And, I know that I'm a participant in the relationship. I don't
Yes.
done blaming him. I'm done blaming him for all of it. Thank
I'm at
thank
that place too, and with Mind Force.
Yeah, I think it's a
Done
healthy
blaming
place. But you can't get there. You have to get there organically. You can't get there with your mind. You have to really get there in an authentic place. And I do think
Absolutely.
I'm there. But I still have some. I know things that people don't know. So even you, like people describe him as this incredible being, and he was that,
Yes.
still
Yes.
is that in some form. And also, there's a whole other side that people don't know that makes it really hard for me in 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 the thread of everyone sort of eulogizing him and saying things about his life. And so I don't know why I feel like I need to say that, but just I feel like I need to say that
Yin yang. We're
yeah,
all we're we're
we're all
all
of
of
it.
it. We're
Yeah, we're
all of
all
it.
of it. And so true. And honestly, the deepest forgiveness, I have the deepest forgiveness for his shortcomings and mine too, in the relationship. So yeah, and I just want to say a funny piece, which is just before we got online here. I thought I was texting my chiropractor, whose name is Natalie, but I ended up texting this woman who I haven't spoken to in probably, I don't know how many, 15 years or something, who was a friend of Tim's
Wow.
way back in the day, and we became friendly because of Tim. But um,
Dave was a spiritual friend.
the
His
connection of that, like, she was also kind of into dreams and spiritual
yes.
work and all sorts of things. And so somehow this connection it feels like there's this spiritual connection, like energetic something. I don't even know if she knows that he passed. I don't
That's what
think
I
they were
was thinking.
in contact.
I was
And I
thinking
feel
maybe
like,
she doesn't know.
and and the fact that I mistakenly texted her, I didn't even know she was still in my contacts. It just feels so magical in a way, like that connection happened, and that maybe I'm supposed to share that with her, or
I think, in my big imagination, I can imagine Tim on the other side feeling like, well, this was a spiritual connection I had with someone, and she doesn't know. And
yeah,
so,
maybe yeah,
like he's like pulling the
wants her to
string.
know.
Yeah, it's what I feel. Oh, Ellen,
Oh,
what a huge, wonderful coincidence.
I must want her to know. I don't know what I mean, maybe there's something in it for me personally, but I don't think so. I actually don't think so.
But don't
Gosh,
be so sure,
one
because
never knows, right?
in every conversation we can learn something.
One
Whether
never
it's,
knows. Yes,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
thank
and I'm
you.
sorry to, I have one more thing to say, and then floor is open to you. But I had a very weird memory while I was randomly giving somebody a massage
Yeah.
yesterday. And the memory is that, and this is a memory like that, something that I think actually happened. When I was about 16 or 17, I used to work at Friendly's in my hometown, and I pulled into the parking lot and started walking to the door. And I saw in this kind of like greasy puddle, I saw something like glittery, and I picked it up, and it was dog tags,
Hmm.
like what, like army dog tags on that kind of chain, exact kind of chain,
Mhm.
dog, literally an exact dog tag. And
Mhm.
I looked at the dog tag, and on both dog tags, there's usually two, it
Yes.
said Ellen is weird engraved in it. Ellen is weird.
Oh
And
my
this in
God.
my experience, this happened, right? This happened. But all of a sudden,
How
and
crazy.
and this was how many years ago? I haven't thought about it. And all of a sudden it entered my mind, and I suddenly had this thought that that might have been a dream.
Oh,
I don't know. I have never had this experience. I literally don't know if that was a dream. In my memory, in my being, that happened.
yes.
It was that I remember thinking, what?
Mhm.
Ellen is weird? Yes, yes, that's me. That is meant for
Don't
me.
tell me I'm weird.
But I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I was in a little bit of a punk phase,
Feel like
like
you're
more,
known.
like it just seemed like I'm unusual, I'm different,
Yes.
and it
Yes.
was, I don't know, it was some kind of an affirmation, or like that God exists, that this is right here, or that I didn't know what the message was, but I knew it was very potent, and it, like I said, it happened. But I don't have those dog tags. I do not have them in my possession. I don't remember ever, like, I don't remember the last time I had them or felt them in my hands
You
or
didn't
anything.
hang them from the rear view mirror in your car.
I mean, if I had those in physical form, I would have worn them. And I
Yeah.
feel like I did wear them,
Okay.
but I don't know where they are. I would never have thrown such a thing out ever. It would have been precious. It would have been one of those things that I carry deep in my jewelry box or
Sure.
whatever.
Sure.
I can, in years and years and years and years of moving around or whatever, I don't have them. So I have a feeling it might have been a dream.
This is why I stopped watching television, because when I was like, 18, 19, and now I've started again, but I stopped because, well, not television, but like Netflix. I stopped because I couldn't remember. Did I dream that? Is that something I saw on a show? And there was like, and I don't know, is it something that I'm just like imagining? Is it just, and it was too convoluted, too confusing for me. So I stopped watching TV. I was like, I'll have my inner entertainment at night, and then I'll know for sure. And yeah, so come to think of it, I'm not really remembering dreams right now. And I know I also blame, THC, and but I think it's also because I'm watching so many movies now, and
Mm,
streaming,
mm,
streaming,
mm.
streaming, or like
Yeah.
watching YouTube.
Hmm.
And it's just
Yeah,
too much information.
yeah,
And
I
so
know.
therefore I can't get really quiet and like go deep in and then remember it when because I woke up a couple times like, oh, that's really interesting, and for some reason I think there was some kind of canyon, like a Grand Canyon, or this is bizarre, or I was at like the top of a volcano. It was either deep in a ditch, not ditch, but a canyon, or high up on a volcano. But I don't know which, because I don't have the clarity.
Hmm. That's
Yeah,
interesting that you don't know if you were high or low,
I
or
know.
that's really like, whoa.
Yeah, I'd
Like,
love to talk about that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's and I still like to this moment, I'm kind of like, what? Like I don't even know what is that. I'm kind of incredulous, and I'm just like, wow, I'm excited somehow by that notion that I thought so strongly that that actually happened.
The
And
dog tags.
maybe it did. And
I
now
think it did. You've moved so many times in your life.
I would have it. I would have it, but it now when I say I moved, I don't mean I would have lost it in the move. I mean I would have
Okay.
seen it, because when I move, I go through everything. I'm very particular in that way. I go through everything. What can I let go? And I would have known, I would have seen it, and I never would have let that go. I never would have gotten rid of that. So like there's no, it's just crazy. I mean, unless it just got lost, I don't know. Like maybe I was wearing it and took, I don't know. I just don't know. And I want to ask people in my life at that point, do you ever remember that,
Yeah.
like me wearing
Wow.
that, or like talking about it? If I
I
can't
would see, I
remember.
would think that would be an awesome accoutrement to like punk, punk
Totally,
ripped
totally. That's why
shirt, my dog tags and
like it
dyed
suited
mohawk.
me. Yeah, I had like one of those like haircuts that was, like
Yeah.
that, short on the side and long on the
Uh-huh.
other. And I mean, it wasn't like hard edge punk, but I definitely was like fashion punk.
Yes.
And yeah, but and I was kind of like had that angry edge to me, as most teenagers do.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
that's why it also just fit me. It suited me so well. Like, so I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to share that piece of
Yeah.
information,
Thank you.
whatever that is.
So I would love any hits you get about it either being high up on a peak or down deep in a canyon.
Can you
Um,
say more about it? Like, was this a recent thing?
yes, and it may have even been two dreams. One of them times I woke up and I said, "Oh, a canyon." I got to remember that. And the other time I woke up and I was like, "Oh, a volcano." But I don't really remember any context. There was
Hmm.
no story. There's just these
Hmm.
two images. And
Well, what's interesting, my initial hit is a a a canyon is often created by a volcano.
it's almost like the inverse, right? And if you took a
Like
tornado,
a volcano is
a
like this.
volcano, tornado, I'm saying
When a
tornado.
volcano like erupts, and like however that
Yeah.
works, ecologically or geologically, it can create a canyon.
Well, I'm looking at it even like cartoonly.
Okay.
You look at
Uh-huh.
a big volcano and
Uh-huh.
you take it and turn it upside down, and no, that doesn't quite work, but maybe it would fit in a canyon. Something about as above, so below is the
Hmm.
only hit
Oh,
that I
I
get
love
from
that. I love that for you. That's a private joke. I love
it. Between us and our listeners.
it. We'll tell you about that another time. Or maybe we already did. I don't
Two
know.
times, I think.
I love that for you. But no, I do love that for you. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Yeah, that actually feels correct somehow
Yes.
for you.
And it's
Yeah.
not just as above, like the sky, so below the earth. It's like deeper than the
Yeah.
earth, so
Mm,
below inside the earth.
yes. In the roots,
Yeah,
deep in the roots. Yeah. Yes.
which feels great.
And in a way, like I guess I'm taking it into the place of one can't exist without the other.
Can you say more about that?
Well, just I guess I'm thinking even in the terms of the geological formations, right? Like,
Okay,
I
yes,
mean, for some reason, that's where my mind is going
yes.
with that. Like that you necessarily can't have a volcano without ultimately having the what it
Canyon,
what it does to the earth, the
right,
canyon, right?
yeah. So
What
you're
it,
thinking the lava will just burn everything on the surface and
yeah, I don't know I really don't even know how that works, but that's my imagining, is that when a volcano erupts, that it creates a deep, yeah, deep canyon. But I'm not even sure if that's true, but that's what it feels
I'm not
like.
either. When I was in eighth grade, I wanted to be like, we had earth science. and I wanted to be a geologist. I was like,
Me too. Me too.
I
Totally.
think we both said we wanted to be a meteorologist.
No, meteorologist, not so much,
Oh,
but
because I
earth
had that
science,
phase too.
totally
Earth
was into that.
science. That's
The
what I wanted
rocks
to
and
do.
stuff.
There was a picture in my textbook of red rocks. It was somewhere near New Mexico or like Colorado, and red
Hmm.
rocks, and it's a stream. And I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. And I was not a vandal, but I did tear it out of my textbook because I think I have it in a folder. I think it was something I do still have, because I just thought this is what I want to see, and then I got to travel a bit in the States.
Ah, yeah, you lived there, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I lived in Colorado, I lived in New Mexico,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
yeah, also Arizona. I lived in Arizona.
Arizona, right. Right.
So I wanted to say something in the early podcast. So this is like what, like 150 something. This will be, oh, not quite. This will maybe be 140. So in the early of the podcast, I didn't realize how it would be. And so I kept doing what a dream teacher of mine, Stephen Larson, had always done when we would have a group after, a month or whatever. And or after 2 weeks, continuity. Like, did anything come up for you, dreamer, since the dreamer dreamed this, or did anything come up to anyone? And so we always did that. So I used to do that in the beginning of the podcast until I realized, but people don't listen to these in order. You might be interested in lucid dreaming and then, also interested in prophetic dreaming, but they're not one after the next or whatever it is. So, but this, I have a continuity to beat all continuities. And that is,
hear it.
yeah. So in the beginning of doing the podcast, I think I was speaking with Brendan, our dear deceased friend, dream worker. And after January 6th, I was like, oh my God, like, who is going to save us? I felt like our whole country was about to fall apart, and who was going to be the hero, or like, how can we take care of ourselves and our small lives, and when all this craziness is happening. So that was my question. And now there's continuity. Oh, who's going to save us? Oh, I guess Liz Cheney and Jack Smith, the lawyer. So now Trump is charged with 78 indictment. Oh no, it's 3 indictments, 78 charges. And I think that's also his age. So it's just karma. So that was one thing that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And we don't even want to talk about it. This is not a political podcast. I go elsewhere for my politics, but
right. But it is in the zeitgeist. It is in the ether, right? It's just kind of like I was just saying to you earlier that I don't really pay attention to politics at all. Of course, it's impossible not to, because I get into my car and my radio pops on and there's all that stuff, the insurrection radio and stuff such, So of course I know what's going on, but only so much. I really don't delve in. I don't pay too much attention because I would be out of my mind with anxiety if I really paid too much attention. But I am happy to know that justice is being done, hopefully, and that
I'm the opposite.
There's always hope.
I'm obsessed with, and I just want to listen to real thinkers. I like listening to Preet Bharara. He's he used to be the Attorney General of the Southern State of New York or whatever, and he's a lawyer, so intelligent. And so I really like listening to informative. Well, that's what you were saying when you listen. This podcast is really dream work. It's like living. It's a living podcast. But we don't have to follow something like politics or explain.
Right. If it comes up, right?
If it comes up, exactly.
If it's in a dream or it's in your world of something that you feel connected to your inner world, whatever. I think it's important to not have heads in the sand, kind of thing, right? We are all part of the whole zeitgeist is a word I seem to be liking.
I like that. This is the third time you've
yes. I'm enjoying that word today, zeitgeist.
So what I still wanted to look at the volcano canyon, because it just seems very significant. So for a volcano, if we go to the top, to the zenith of
Mhm.
that mountain, we could get burned. That's almost like, oh God, isn't that like, don't look at God. No one can look at God and live, or something.
Right,
There's
like
like
the
a,
light is too bright kind of
it's
thing.
too
Yeah.
bright, and this will like burn someone. And
Mhm.
so that's like, to almost keep yourself in check, right?
Mhm.
Like being a mortal, being a mortal,
Right,
not immortal,
a mortal.
a mortal. I am
Yes.
a mortal.
Hmm.
Um, that I need to have some humility. I'm not of the higher. This is what I'm thinking for the dream. And then for the canyon, well, I love that because I used to feel like I used to feel like I related with the animal, the duck, because the duck could swim, and dive into fish, and could and but didn't swim as deep as like a shark or like other sea creatures. It was a duck, and it could fly, but didn't fly as high as eagles or other raptors. And so I always thought like, and I guess to me that meant I didn't feel like I was going deep enough in an authentic way. This was in my 20s, and I wasn't flying so high either. So I think these dreams, or this dream, kind of changes that. In a way, the eagle had become my totem animal, because it kept frequenting my dreams, happily and thankfully. So, and but the canyon, I don't know that the depth, right? I think I could get like high and flaky, but getting the depth, getting
The
to the
roots,
truth,
right, like, yeah, staying
going
rooted and grounded at the same time, rooted in
grounded.
spiritual,
Yeah,
rooted and up also.
that's right. I've heard like roots and wings.
Yes,
I
yeah,
didn't make that up, but I love that.
yes,
You need to have roots and wings.
yes.
So that feels significant because I feel like maybe there's a new um metamorphosis just coming. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
kind of
you're true. Yes,
deeper.
that feels right too. Like, yeah, just sending your roots deeper down in and holding ground.
Yes, yes.
From there, you can kind of,
Although when you say that, I think of like here where we're living in the east, where I'm living in the East Coast, where the soil is so conducive for roots going down, but you're living in canyons land, with not
yes,
and
yes.
and so it's not really the roots. So what is it that's going down to it? Because it was really a canyon, like
Like
in the southwest.
the molten core.
So that's like fire also, fire
Right.
above and fire below.
Yes, earth and fire and air.
Wow.
Um,
And water
earth
somehow.
and fire.
Yeah,
They forgot a few elements, but that's okay.
they're there somehow. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like the molten. I like that.
Yeah, the depth of the core spark almost. It's like a
Large
spark.
spark. Yeah. Or it's more like it's molten. It seems
Mhm.
like a spark, but
Yeah.
molten seems like it sparked a little while ago and it's been bubbling and churning
Yeah. Yeah.
and growing, so it's like,
I know it's funny. I know what you mean about this interesting, comparison that here where there are those sort of canyons and all that kind
yes,
of thing, that it is, the soil is very, it's not good growing soil. It's,
play.
but there are still trees and the roots do go deep, and it's, I don't know, I'm not sure that it
That's
matters.
right. That's right. And
So
some
like,
don't. Like I think I remember learning the cottonwood tree. The roots don't go deep at all. It goes wide.
we have so many of those around. Yeah.
Yes.
They've
Yes.
just been shedding their cotton all over the place, the little fluff balls.
Are you allergic?
Nope.
Oh,
Um,
excellent.
I mean, I have some sensitivities to whatever everyone. I don't know a
Yeah.
single person who lives in New Mexico who doesn't have irritation,
Okay. Oh, interesting.
nasal, eyes,
Interesting.
coughing. It's like whatever it is that flies around, there's always something.
Okay.
The chamisa, there's the pinon, there's the
Okay.
juniper, like depending on the moment.
Union
Yeah,
nuts, my favorite pine
yeah,
nut.
yes, yeah, yummy. Got a lot of those. Anyway, yeah. So is there anything else that you feel like you want to know about that, or anything
Um,
that you're any kind of more hits,
I mean,
or how it relates maybe to,
I guess now because if I'm looking at it in a totem animal perspective, if that makes any sense, like it used to be the duck and now it's the eagle.
uh-huh.
But you know what? So I'm thinking, well, what lives there? And lizards, right? You have lizards,
Mm-hmm. Get
lizards.
yeah.
Do you know in David Carson's medicine cards, um, the Choctaw tradition, lizard is the dreamer. It's like,
Wow, that's pretty fascinating.
yeah,
Yeah. You
fly
know.
high, lizard low.
Hmm. Hmm.
So thank you. Thank you. I just
Wow.
wanted to like exactly this, just riff off each other and see what.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just also thinking about like the lizard, that it's a dreamer. Like why would they pick that instead of like a hawk or something, but because the hawk flies,
Maybe
or the
sleeping.
like
Well,
owl.
I
But
think
there's,
it's sleeping all day in the sun. You
oh,
to
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
you know,
It's
when a hawk, you don't
it's
see a
connected
hawk.
to the earth somehow. It's connected to the earth
Yeah, yes.
for whatever that's worth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth a
Yeah.
lot right now.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have a dream that you want to share? I don't want to take all
Um,
the time.
yeah, well, I think I would like to. I think, did we share the dream about the package in the vestibule? I think we did last week.
You had read a piece of writing, and
But did I read
I
that? I
did.
don't think I read that on the podcast. I think I just read
Okay,
that to you because that was, I guess.
that's possible. That's certainly
Well,
possible.
I'll just say the dream real quick and then
Yes, please.
yeah. So this was like days after Tim passed, my ex-husband. I'm sort of above. I don't see myself, but I feel myself kind of above, floating maybe. And I'm seeing this vestibule, and I'm seeing a hand deliver a rectangular package, maybe a foot long and maybe 4 inches by 4 inches square, whatever around. So it's a rectangular package, and this hand just puts the package down in the corner and walks out. The door is open, and it's bright and light. And when I say bright and light, I mean like glowing, like felt like heaven, like that kind of emanations, light emanations
You
coming off
definitely didn't tell this
and the
dream.
floor. Yeah. And it was just like, okay, I really honestly didn't even think, I didn't know what it meant, whatever. And then I did a fairly long piece of writing about it. And, what came up was, is that you, Tim? Are you giving me something? Like, of course, that has to
Right.
be. I mean, it just felt so obvious, but
Yeah.
I don't know what he was giving me or but it just made me, it did, when I came to that conclusion that it felt like I was being given something from another realm of
Yeah.
existence, and that
I
it felt
that's
like it was a gift.
that dream is such a gift. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. The
the
dream is,
mystery of the what's in the box, that's a gift.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Don't know what's in the box. And it was just such a particular size and shape. And like, I think we had talked some about it, and you were saying, that it might be like tools. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of interesting,
No,
to
but I
think that.
don't remember saying the tool thing about the glowing box.
Yeah, well, the box itself. So here's what's interesting: the
Yeah.
box was just a box, but it was an interesting shape.
Okay.
What was glowing was the vestibule, the hallway
The
itself.
space.
It's like you open the hallway door. It's like, the rays of
Did
God.
you walk in?
And nobody. There was no. I couldn't. There was no person. I just saw an
Oh, did
arm, like
you? Oh, you weren't even in it.
No,
You're
I was kind of, I didn't see myself. I felt myself kind of maybe hovering and seeing from some other vantage point, somehow.
so interesting. A hand, you said like a
Just
hand
the
just
hand.
reaches in, but
Right.
then you also said, and then walks away. So it was not just a hand, it must have
Well, it
been,
was the hand delivered
uh,
and then back, and
and
then
then
yeah.
that's so interesting. So it wasn't like the hand in the Munsters hand.
No, no, it wasn't like a disembodied hand. It was just like I didn't see the hand. I didn't see the body, and it was
Easy body.
felt like very low to the ground. Kind
Okay.
of like almost like it's almost like they were sneaking it, like it was like a UPS delivery or something, but they were sneaking it in the hallway. Um, so anyway, that was the dream. But it did. I think from then on is when I started to feel like, oh, I think Tim is here. I think he's with me. I think he's not just with me, but I feel his presence, and it made it created this opening for me to actually talk to him and say the things that I wanted to say. I'm still working on it, a little bit. Like, what are the things that I really wanted to say to him? What are the things that I really wanted to hear from him that I never could get in waking, alive life?
Mhm.
And so having those conversations is feeling like it's gonna help me just let go once and for all of some
Mhm.
things that I apparently still have been holding on to, even though I thought I let them go. You know,
Wow, that's
so
very special. I love it.
it's a
I
gift.
love it.
Yeah.
So we talk about often our dream teacher, another of our dream teachers, Robert Moss, who teaches dream reentry. And so you get in a meditative state, and it's really imaginative work, active imagination. And you, or as Robert Moss called it, the imaginal realm, you imagine back. So that's a way to possibly discover what's in the box, or possibly then become embodied and step into that vestibule of light, or whatever it is. And I know you did some writing from it. So, and that can also be like a dream entry of sorts, because
Yeah.
you're thinking about the dream and writing about the dream. So do you want to read your writing of that, or do you want to just talk about insights that came from it? So
But
I,
anyway, it goes into an exploration. That is the
yes,
bottom line. It goes into
yes,
an exploration of, is that you, and what did we
so good to keep a journal.
and what is this, what is, like I assume that your spirit is going to be with those that you loved, not with me. Why would you be with me? But
Because
he is.
you're one of,
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't
that's
work
it.
like he can only go over there and over there and over there. It's just this like emanating presence that is everywhere.
I have invited Tim to sit on my council, and I realize my council is getting way bigger than like a table with, the people who, the speakers on a panel. It used to be like the speakers on a panel, my council, but now it's becoming like unwieldy.
Oh,
Not unwieldy at all, because it's all the sparks of life and the people that I love, and the energies that I wish to draw more into me. Um, it's only those who I'm choosing to be on the council. So not unwieldy in a energy kind of way, but just in a many people juggling kind of way.
yeah. Wow. That's awesome that you do that though. That's really wonderful to
It
keep
helps.
those that alive in you.
It helps so
Yeah.
much. But not even letting go of people who are leaving the earth, who are passing on. Not only for that, but it makes me feel like I'm still connected
Yes.
regularly.
And it really does feel like that. There is really something to that
Yes,
connection. Like it's
yes.
real. It's real, and yeah. Yeah, Tim was a powerful being.
A bright light,
Powerful being for sure.
handsome is all get out. By the by, that's just an aside.
Mhm.
He was really
Yeah,
just
manly.
the manly hippie you've been looking for. Yeah,
Had the pleasure of having that.
yes. Yeah,
And
you guys
yeah,
were a wonderful couple. You used
oh,
to have dances Friday night. When was
yes,
it?
first Fridays,
First
we sort of
Friday.
built.
Yeah, you know, people were in the kitchen, people were upstairs dancing. It was just, you guys were community builders. And,
Yes,
and that was
yes.
a beautiful,
Well, and I think
beautiful.
he continued that, way. I think that people said that about him in his more recent life,
Okay,
Hawaii, that community was continued to be very important. I mean, they didn't say continue as if I had anything
right.
to do with it,
No,
but did. But
you had nothing to do with that. I'm just,
but, but he did continue that, and it was very important to him, and I think people really appreciated that about him, and how he was very much interested in helping and supporting people and creating community and
yeah,
loving his boy and his new partner, and
yes,
whatever. He's
has a son.
a good, deep, powerful, poetic, musical, funny,
Wise.
super, super intelligent being that
Yes.
that I loved dearly when I was with him. And unfortunately, the ending was so intensely painful that it kind of broke a lot of that in me. But I can remember it now, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the dreams, and that's the gift of his passing in a way for
Yeah,
me. I,
beautiful. So, and if you don't mind, now that we're talking about my imagination council, if I could just say, I learned something new that I didn't know before about manifesting. And maybe I knew it before, but it hit me like as if I'd never knew it before. Even if you knew something, something comes and it's like, but did I really know this? So when I manifest, I try to do what, Joe Dispenza and other, sadhu guru and many people teach about this. And and I realized, so I learned that so for me, because I have MS and I can't necessarily walk without a walker or a cane, it's I'm manifesting myself walking. And then I bring in all the senses because I had learned that. So I smell the wildflowers, I smell the summer grass, I hear the birds singing, I hear the water bubbling down the stream, and then just try to bring all the senses in. But what I realized I was missing is, and I think Stacy brought this to my attention, I wasn't, and I know that you're supposed to also have gratitude. And so I was like, well, I am very grateful. You're supposed to feel like it's already done. God, I'm so grateful that I can now walk without an
yeah.
aid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't quite genuinely bring that into I didn't know how. I knew the idea of it, but I didn't know the practice of it. So what I realized is I have to feel in my heart. I was leaving my heart out of this. This is all in my imagination, in my head, in my senses, but none of that is the heart. So I realized what is missing from a manifestation is bringing my heart into it. And in this place, I can really feel the gratitude. And that is the practice of the gratitude. So that, I think, is the missing link in how I was striving to manifest. And I would just love to talk about that with any listeners or with you. I think, as everyone knows, manifesting is so important to me, and it's really big part of my practice. So the heart, one has to bring the heart into it. Of course one does. Of
Yes,
course
yes.
one
Oh,
needs the
gosh,
heart. And
right.
that's the place where you can find your gratitude.
Yes. And it's where you find everything,
Yeah.
really. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like what? Like,
Like your creativity, your
yes,
spiritual connection,
yes,
your love,
yes.
your life force.
How you feel about your friends and your
Yes.
family, and
Yes.
it's all coming from,
Relationships,
yes,
what you put into your work, like all of it really comes from there. And I know this from a different perspective, which is anxiety. When you're in anxiety, you're totally in your head.
yes,
Like, and I'll just say, when I'm in anxiety, I can get a little mean almost. Like I can get really snippy. And I think it's because I'm just living in this place from, right here, from here
yes,
down, here up rather.
yes,
and I can't find my heart energy because I'm too busy ruminating about what doesn't feel okay and
Yes.
worrying about and the sort of free floating things that
Kind of changes my suggestion to you, which is when one gets in this place of great anxiety, really important to get into our senses and say,
totally.
okay, I'm sitting here, my feet are on the
Yeah,
ground.
I know all the tricks. I mean, I teach.
But I know we've talked about that,
Yeah.
and I'm mostly saying that just
Yeah.
for the
Oh yeah.
public.
Yeah.
But because it wasn't clear to me when I spoke with you about this, bring in the heart. Now that's like, how could I not have seen that? Now it makes me feel so ridiculous that
Well, it's just, yeah,
I
that's
just
what
didn't
happens.
know. I didn't, not that knowing, it's not knowing, I didn't know in my
You
heart.
weren't
I didn't know.
focused on it. You weren't
Yeah.
focused.
And
Yeah.
it just makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Well, that's just that's your evolution, I
In
think.
my Yiskah is weird kind of way.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing your deep feelings and your wise insights. And I very much enjoy doing this deep work with you.
Thank you, Yiskah. Thank you. And you too, in your lighthearted, also deep but lighthearted playfulness.
We're getting deeper, I think. The canyon,
I mean, we're going, yes, exactly.
we're gonna get there.
Maybe
We're
that's
gonna,
really what's happening in life, in your life, in my life, in life in general, is like we're
yes,
having to go deeper in order to find, a way to kind of come out and live life in this whole new way, in this whole new world that we don't know what it is really yet.
we'll discover.
We will discover. Yeah.
So to our listeners, thank you for joining us and hope you got something out of this. And as always, we invite you to email us, get in touch with. I have a Dreamstream Facebook page, but also Dreamstream podcast on YouTube and the Dreamstream on SoundCloud, where you can access it from any podcast platform. As always, we ask you to please subscribe and share. And thank you again.
Sweet dreams, all.